Hello, and welcome back to English in Fluency. My name is Alex, and I am so happy you've chosen to spend some of your valuable time with me today. It doesn't matter if you're driving to work, cooking a meal, taking a walk through your neighborhood, or just finding a quiet moment to relax. I'm truly grateful you're here. I want to start by saying a huge thank you for all the incredible support you've shown this channel. Your comments, your messages, and your feedback mean the world to me. They tell me that what we're doing here is more than just learning English. It's about connecting, growing, and finding a little more motivation in our lives. You are the reason I keep creating these episodes. So, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Today, we are going to explore a topic that is incredibly powerful. It's an idea that has the potential to change everything for you: your career, your studies, your relationships, and especially your journey with the English language. We're going to talk about the psychology of winners. Or in simpler words, we're going to learn how successful people think. Have you ever looked at someone and wondered, how do they keep going when things get so tough? How do they stay so positive after facing failure again and again? What is it that allows some people to grow from their challenges while others seem to get stuck or just give up? The secret, my friend, is not usually found in what they do on the outside, but in how they think on the inside. Now, when I use words like winner or successful person, I want us to be very clear. I'm not just talking about people with millions of dollars or fancy cars. Not at all. A successful person can be a parent who raises kind children, a student who finally understands a difficult subject, a friend who is always there to listen, or someone who is bravely living their own dream, no matter how small it may seem to the rest of the world. Success is personal, and a winner is anyone who refuses to give up on their own personal growth. In this journey together today, we will look deep into the minds of these people. We'll explore how they see problems, how they react to setbacks, how they build powerful habits, and how they develop unshakable inner strength. By the end of our time together, you will have learned practical, simple ways to start thinking like them. You'll have new tools to face your own challenges, whether it's speaking English more confidently or chasing a lifelong dream. And of course, you'll be practicing your English listening and speaking skills every step of the way. So, are you ready? Let's take a nice deep breath together and begin this fascinating journey into the mind of a winner. Let's learn how they think and how you can become one, too. Before we dive into the deep waters of how successful people think, we need to ask ourselves a very simple but very important question. What is a winner? What does it truly mean to be a successful person? We hear these words all the time. On social media, in the news, at our jobs. Success, achievement, winning. But what do they really mean? And more importantly, what should they mean to you? Often when we hear the word winner, our mind immediately jumps to a picture of someone standing on a podium, maybe with a gold medal around their neck. We think of the person who gets the highest score on a test, or the team that wins the championship game. When we hear successful, we might picture a CEO in a tall skyscraper, someone famous on a movie screen, or an entrepreneur with a billion-dollar company. These are, of course, forms of success, but they are a very narrow, very limited part of the story. In our conversation today, we are going to talk about a different kind of success, a deeper, more meaningful kind. A winner isn't just someone who crosses the finish line first. A real winner is someone who gets back up after they fall down, again and again. A winner is someone who chooses to learn, to grow, and to become a slightly better version of themselves every single day. Success is not a one-size-fits-all shirt. It's unique to every single person. What you see as the ultimate achievement might be completely different from what your neighbor, your friend, or even your parents consider success. For one person, success could be starting a business that helps their community. For another, it could be mastering the guitar. For someone else, success might look like being a present and loving parent, maintaining good health into old age, or simply finding peace and happiness in a quiet life. All of these are valid. All of these are real success stories. This is why comparing our journey to someone else's is one of the most damaging things we can do. Your path is your own. Your success isn't less valuable just because it doesn't look like the success you see on Instagram. Your progress is not smaller just because it's happening quietly. Let me share a few stories with you to help paint a clearer picture. Imagine a man named Leo. Leo moved to the United States from a small village with very little money in his pocket and a dream in his heart. He didn't have a fancy degree or important connections. He started by working 2 jobs, washing dishes at night and working in construction during the day. It was exhausting work. He barely saw his family. But every dollar he saved, he put towards a goal. He wanted to open his own food truck. He loved the food from his home country and wanted to share it. Years went by, filled with long hours and many sacrifices. He finally saved enough to buy a used truck. His first year was incredibly difficult. Some days, he sold almost nothing. The city had rules he didn't understand, and the competition was tough. A person might look at him then and say he was failing. But Leo didn't see it that way. Every day was a lesson. He learned which locations were best. He learned what his customers liked. He learned how to manage his money better. He never gave up. Today, Leo has a small but very popular restaurant. He's not a millionaire, but he was the first person in his family to send his children to college. When he talks about his life, his eyes fill with pride. Is he successful? Absolutely. He is a winner because he built a life from almost nothing, driven by love for his family and his culture. He persevered. Now, let's think about a young woman named Maya. Maya was a brilliant software developer. She had amazing creative ideas, but she had a deep fear of public speaking. In team meetings, her heart would pound in her chest. Her palms would get sweaty. She would have the perfect solution to a problem, but the words would get stuck in her throat. She was afraid that people would judge her, that she would say something wrong, that her voice wasn't important enough. For years, she stayed silent and watched others get credit for ideas that were similar to her own. One day, after a particularly frustrating meeting, she decided that enough was enough. She was tired of her fear controlling her life. She started small. She promised herself she would say just one thing in the next meeting, even if it was just to agree with someone else. She did it. Her voice shook, but she did it. It was terrifying, but also empowering. Then she joined a local Toastmasters club, a group designed to help people practice public speaking in a safe environment. She was still nervous every time she went up to speak. She made mistakes. She forgot her words sometimes. but she kept showing up. 2 years later, Maya was asked to lead a presentation for a major project to over 200 people at her company. She walked onto that stage, took a deep breath, and delivered a clear, confident, and brilliant presentation. She may not be famous. She may not be a CEO. But in that moment, she was a true winner. She had faced her greatest fear and had come out stronger on the other side. Let's take one more example. A teenager named Sarah, who dreams of becoming a doctor. The science classes are incredibly difficult. She studies for hours every single day, while her friends are out having fun, watching movies, or playing video games. She often feels tired and overwhelmed. There are moments when she doubts if she's smart enough. She takes a big exam and doesn't get the score she needs. It's a huge blow. It would be so easy to give up, to choose an easier path. But after a few days of feeling sad, she remembers why she started this journey. She thinks about helping people, about making a difference. So, she picks up her books again. She finds a new study group. She asks her teacher for extra help. She works even harder. A year later, she takes the exam again. And she passes. She gets into the medical school she dreamed of. That feeling of achievement, earned through dedication and persistence, is success. She is a winner, not just because she passed the exam, but because she refused to let a setback define her. As you can see from these stories, success isn't about being perfect. It's not about being the richest or the most famous. It's about progress. It's about getting a little better, day by day. It's about finding the courage to try again after you fall. A winner isn't always the fastest person in the race or the most naturally gifted person in the room. A winner is often just the person who was willing to keep showing up, keep trying, and keep believing in their own potential for growth. And that brings me to a very important question for you, the person listening to my voice right now. What does success mean to you? I want you to take a real moment to think about that. Pause if you need to. Is it about becoming fluent in English so you can connect with more people? Is it finding a job that makes you feel fulfilled and happy? Is it being a good partner, parent, or friend? Is it about living a life filled with peace and health? Or is it about making a big impact on the world? There is no right or wrong answer. Your definition of success is yours alone. And your journey towards it is just as important and valuable as anyone else's. As we continue through this episode, hold your definition of success in your mind, because you don't have to be a millionaire to be successful. You don't have to be flawless to be a winner. You just have to be willing to take the next step, and the one after that. Now, let's get to the heart of our topic. Let's talk about the real secret behind why some people achieve their personal version of success, while others struggle. Many people believe that successful individuals are just luckier, or they were born into wealthy families, or they were blessed with some kind of special talent. But more often than not, that's not the whole truth. The real difference, the one that truly matters, isn't on the outside. It's not about money, or connections, or even natural ability. The real difference is on the inside. It's all about how they think. It's about their mindset. What is a mindset? Think of it like the operating system on your computer or your phone. It's the software that runs in the background, controlling everything you do. It shapes how you see the world, how you interpret events, and how you see yourself. It's like wearing a pair of glasses. If the lenses on your glasses are smudged and dirty, the whole world looks dark and unclear. It's hard to find your way. But if your lenses are clean and clear, you can see the path ahead with brightness and hope. Your mindset works in the very same way. A negative or limited mindset will make it very difficult to grow. But an open, strong, and positive mindset can unlock possibilities you never imagined. A brilliant psychologist named Carol Dweck spent her career studying this idea, and she discovered that people generally have one of two main mindsets. Don't worry, we'll keep the names simple and the ideas clear. She called them the fixed mindset and the growth mindset. Let's first talk about the fixed mindset. People with a fixed mindset believe that their qualities, like their intelligence or their talents, are fixed traits. They are carved in stone. You either have it or you don't. They think, I'm good at math, or I'm just not an artistic person. They believe that talent alone leads to success, and they don't put much value on effort. Because they believe their abilities are fixed, they see failure as a direct measure of their worth. If they fail at something, it doesn't just mean they made a mistake. It means they are a failure. For example, imagine a student, let's call him Tom, who is learning English. He takes a speaking test and gets a low score. If Tom has a fixed mindset, his internal voice might say, "See? I knew it. I'm just terrible at English. My accent is bad, and I'll never be fluent." What happens next? He feels ashamed and discouraged. He starts to avoid speaking in class. He stops trying as hard because he believes his efforts won't make a difference anyway. His belief that his ability is fixed has become a self-fulfilling prophecy. But now, let's look at the other side. Let's talk about the growth mindset. People with a growth mindset believe something completely different and completely revolutionary. They believe that their abilities can be developed through dedication and hard work. They understand that brains and talent are just the starting point. This view creates a love of learning and a resilience that is essential for great accomplishment. When they don't know something, they don't get discouraged. They simply say, "I don't know it. Yet." That little word, "yet," is incredibly powerful. Failure isn't a sign of weakness. It's a valuable piece of information. It's an opportunity to learn and grow stronger. Let's go back to our example. Imagine another student, Chloe, takes the same English speaking test and gets the same low score. But Chloe has a growth mindset. Her internal voice says something very different. She might think, "Okay, this score is lower than I wanted. But this is useful feedback. It shows me exactly where I need to improve. My pronunciation of these specific sounds was weak, and I need to work on using more complex sentences. I'm going to ask my teacher for advice and practice these areas more." Do you see the difference? For Chloe, the low score is not a judgment on her identity. It's a roadmap for improvement. She doesn't give up. She gets to work. So, when we say that winners think differently, what we really mean is that they consciously or unconsciously choose to operate from a growth mindset. They don't run away from challenges. They embrace them. They don't crumble in the face of mistakes. They learn from them. They see effort not as a chore, but as the path to mastery. For them, failure is not the opposite of success. It's a stepping stone on the way to success. Let's look at a simple real-life example. Think about someone who wants to start their own online business. In the beginning, it's almost never a smooth ride. Maybe their first product idea doesn't sell. Maybe they spend money on advertising that doesn't work. A person with a fixed mindset would likely say, "I failed. I'm clearly not cut out to be an entrepreneur. I should just get a regular job." They would see this setback as proof of their lack of ability. But a person with a growth mindset would approach it completely differently. They would say, "Okay, that approach didn't work. What did I learn? I learned that my target audience isn't on Facebook. They're on Instagram. I learned that my product description wasn't clear enough. This is valuable data. This way of thinking doesn't lead to quitting. It leads to iterating. It leads to improving. And step by step, that's how they build a successful business." Another crucial part of a winner's thinking is what we often call positive thinking. But this doesn't mean they are happy-go-lucky all the time, ignoring all the problems in the world. That's not realistic. Winners feel sadness, frustration, and doubt, just like everyone else. The difference is that they do not allow these negative thoughts to take control of the driver's seat. When a problem arises, they acknowledge the difficulty, but they quickly shift their focus to finding a solution. When they feel fear, they acknowledge the feeling, but they take action anyway. They practice positive self-talk. Instead of letting their inner critic say, "You can't do this," they learn to respond with, "I can try. I am capable of learning. I will grow from this experience." This internal dialogue isn't about lying to yourself, it's about being your own coach instead of your own critic. Positive thinking is also about maintaining a fundamental belief that the future can be better, and that you have a role to play in making it better. Winners don't have a crystal ball. They don't know exactly what will happen tomorrow, but they have faith in their own ability to navigate whatever comes their way. They trust the process of learning and growing. They keep moving forward, one small, hopeful step at a time. And here's the most exciting part of all this. This way of thinking, this growth mindset, is not a magical gift. It is a skill. And like any skill, from playing the piano to learning a new language, it can be learned and strengthened with practice. You can train your mind to think like a winner. It begins with paying attention to your own thoughts. It starts with making small, conscious changes. The next time you catch yourself thinking, "I can't do this," just gently pause and rephrase it. "I will try to do this." Instead of thinking, "I am not smart," try telling yourself, "I am capable of learning." This simple shift, practiced over and over, can create profound changes in your life. So, the next time you face a challenge, a difficult task, or a setback, I want you to stop for just a moment and ask yourself, how would someone with a growth mindset see this situation? Maybe it's about looking for the hidden lesson. Maybe it's about focusing on the effort, not just the result. Or maybe it's simply about giving yourself permission to try again. Whatever it is, remind yourself that growth is always possible. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be persistent. Remember, successful people are not superhuman. They are ordinary people who have mastered an extraordinary way of thinking. They choose growth. They cultivate positivity. And they never, ever stop learning. So we've established that the right mindset is the foundation. But how do you build a house on that foundation? You do it with habits. The way we think every single day eventually becomes automatic. It becomes a habit. And these thinking habits are incredibly powerful because they directly influence our actions. Our actions repeated over time, create the life we live. This is why paying close attention to our daily thought patterns is so important. If we can learn to think like successful people, we will naturally start to act like them, and ultimately achieve the results we want. So, what are these powerful thinking habits? Let's explore 5 simple but profound habits that you can start practicing in your own life today. The first habit is that successful people think with clarity and focus on their goals. They don't just drift through life, hoping for the best. They are intentional. They know what they want to achieve, both in the long term and in the short term. They have a clear vision in their mind, and they think about it often. This mental picture acts like a compass, guiding their daily decisions and keeping them on track, especially when distractions or difficulties arise. For example, imagine a college student who wants to graduate with honors. That is her clear goal. Every morning, she might take just 2 minutes to visualize herself walking across the stage, receiving her diploma. This isn't just daydreaming, it's a mental rehearsal. When her friends invite her to a party the night before a big exam, her clear goal makes the decision easy. She can say, "No, thank you," without feeling like she's missing out, because she knows she is saying yes to her bigger dream. Her goal gives her focus and strength. It helps her prioritize her time and energy, turning a vague wish into a concrete plan of action. The second habit of successful thinkers is that they treat mistakes as lessons, not as failures. Our society often teaches us to be ashamed of our mistakes, but winners have a completely different relationship with them. They are not afraid to make mistakes because they understand that mistakes are an essential part of the learning process. When something goes wrong, they don't waste time blaming others or feeling sorry for themselves. Instead, they get curious. They ask themselves powerful questions like, "What can I learn from this? What went wrong here? And how can I do it better next time?" Think about a chef trying to create a new recipe. The first time she makes the dish, it might be too salty. The second time, it might be undercooked. A person with a fixed mindset might say, "I'm a terrible cook," and give up. But a successful thinker, a chef with a growth mindset, sees each mistake as valuable data. She thinks, "Okay, less salt next time," and increase the oven temperature by 10 degrees. She keeps adjusting, keep experimenting, keep learning from her failures until she creates a masterpiece. This habit transforms every setback from a dead end into a detour that ultimately leads to a better outcome. A third habit is that they practice staying calm in the face of problems. Life is unpredictable. Challenges will always appear, often when we least expect them. A project at work will go wrong. A bill will be higher than expected. An argument will happen. During these moments, it's natural to feel stress or panic. But successful people train their minds not to be controlled by these emotions. They learn to pause, take a deep breath, and think clearly before they react. Imagine a pilot flying a plane when suddenly a storm hits. If the pilot panics, the situation becomes far more dangerous for everyone. But a trained pilot has a habit of staying calm. They don't ignore the danger, but they focus their mind on the procedures, on the solutions, on what they can control. This calm, clear thinking allows them to navigate the storm safely. In our own lives, when we face a storm, we can practice this same habit. Taking just a few seconds to breathe deeply before responding to a stressful email or a difficult conversation can make all the difference. Staying calm doesn't mean you don't feel stress. It means you don't let stress make your decisions for you. Next, a fourth and very underrated habit is that successful thinkers are not afraid to ask for help. In our culture, especially in the US, there's often a myth of the rugged individual, the hero who does everything alone. But in reality, this is not how success works. Asking for help is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of wisdom and strength. Nobody on this planet knows everything, and nobody can achieve great things completely on their own. Winners understand this deeply. They are confident enough to admit when they don't know something. They will say, "I'm struggling with this. Can you explain it to me?" Or, "I value your opinion. What would you do in my situation?" For example, a new manager might feel pressure to have all the answers for her team. Instead of pretending she knows everything, a successful manager will go to a more experienced mentor and ask for advice. By doing this, she not only learns faster and avoids costly mistakes, but she also builds a strong support network and shows her team that it's okay to be vulnerable and to learn together. She builds trust. Asking for help is like turning on a light in a dark room. It allows you to see the path forward much more clearly. The fifth and final habit we'll discuss today is that they are committed to lifelong learning. Successful people never feel like they have arrived. They never stop being students of life. They read books, listen to podcasts like this one, take courses, ask questions, and simply stay curious about the world around them. They know that in a world that is constantly changing, standing still means falling behind. Learning is what keeps their minds sharp, their skills relevant, and their lives interesting. This doesn't mean you have to be enrolled in a university your whole life. Learning happens in small, daily actions. It could be watching a documentary about a topic you know nothing about. It could be taking 15 minutes a day to practice your English vocabulary. It could be having a conversation with someone from a different background and truly listening to their perspective. Think about an experienced carpenter. Even after 30 years of building things, he might still watch a YouTube video to learn a new technique for joining wood. He's not too proud to learn. He knows there is always more to discover. This habit of daily learning, over months and years, compounds into a vast treasure of knowledge and wisdom. So, let's quickly review these 5 powerful thinking habits. 1. They focus on their goals with clarity. 2. They learn from their mistakes. 3. They stay calm during problems. 4. They ask for help when they need it. And 5. They never stop learning. These aren't magical powers. They are simple, practical habits that anyone, including you, can start to build. You don't have to master all of them at once. Start small. Pick one habit that resonates with you today. Maybe you can take 5 minutes right now to write down your main goal for this week. Or maybe you can reflect on a recent mistake and write down the lesson it taught you. These small, consistent actions are what build the mindset of a winner. Let's now turn our attention to what might be the single most important ingredient in a winner's mindset. It's the fuel in the engine, the foundation upon which everything else is built. It's called self-belief. You might also hear people call it confidence. The two terms are very closely related. They both describe the deep, quiet trust you have in yourself and in your own abilities. Without a healthy level of self-belief, it is nearly impossible to take risks, to try new things, or to keep going when life gets hard. It plays a massive role in the psychology of successful people. So, what exactly is self-belief? In simple terms, self-belief is the inner conviction that you are capable. It's the belief that you have what it takes to learn, to improve, and to handle the challenges that life throws your way. This is very important. Self-belief does not mean believing you are perfect. It does not mean thinking you will never make a mistake or never feel scared. It simply means that deep down, you trust in your ability to figure things out, step by step. You might not know how to build a website today, but you believe that with enough time, effort, and learning, you can figure it out. Confidence is the external expression of this internal belief. It's the feeling that allows you to raise your hand in a meeting and share your idea. It's the feeling that pushes you to apply for a job even if you don't meet every single qualification. Confidence says, "Yes, I can do this." Or perhaps more importantly, it says, "I'm not sure if I can do this yet, but I am willing to try." Without confidence, we stay inside our comfort zones. We don't start the business. We don't ask the person on a date. We don't speak up in English class. We stay stuck. But with confidence, we take action. We speak, we try, we build, we connect. And even if we fail, our underlying self-belief allows us to see it as a learning experience, not as a final judgment on our worth. We trust that we can get back up and try again. Now, here is a crucial truth you must understand. Self-belief is not a personality trait you are born with. It is not a gift given only to a lucky few. Self-belief is something you build. Think of it like a muscle. If you never go to the gym, your muscles remain weak. But if you start lifting small weights consistently, your muscles grow stronger over time. Self-belief works in exactly the same way. It grows when you use it. The more you take small, courageous actions, the more your brain learns that you are capable, and the more confident you become. For example, if you are terrified of speaking English and you avoid every opportunity to speak, your confidence muscle remains small and weak. But if you challenge yourself to say just one simple sentence a day, maybe ordering a coffee or asking a stranger for the time, you are doing one small repetition. The first time is scary. The 10th time is less scary. The 100th time, it starts to feel normal. Each small action is a small victory that builds your belief in yourself. One of the most effective strategies for building self-belief is to focus on taking small, manageable steps. Many people make the mistake of setting huge, intimidating goals. They try to go from 0 to 100 all at once. When they inevitably struggle, they feel overwhelmed and give up, which only reinforces their lack of belief. But winners understand the power of incremental progress. Big success is just the result of many small steps taken consistently over time. If your goal is to write a book, don't start by thinking about the entire 300 pages. That's overwhelming. Start with the goal of writing just one paragraph a day. Anyone can write one paragraph. When you do it, you get a small win. You prove to yourself that you can do it. The next day, you do it again. Those small wins accumulate. They build momentum. And they slowly, but surely, build an unshakable belief that you are, in fact, a writer. Whatever your goal is, break it down into the smallest possible step, and then focus only on completing that tiny step. Another powerful technique is to become the master of your own self-talk. We all have a constant internal monologue, a voice in our head that comments on everything we do. For many people, That voice is a harsh critic. It says things like, "That was so stupid," or "You're going to fail," or "You're not good enough." This kind of negative self-talk is poison to your self-belief. Successful thinkers learn to manage this inner voice. They don't necessarily silence it, but they learn to challenge it and replace it with a kinder, more encouraging voice. They become their own coach. They say things like, "That didn't work out as planned, but it's okay. What can I learn?" Or, "This is difficult, but I am strong and I can handle it." Or, "I am proud of myself for even trying." You can practice this right now. Start by just noticing your thoughts without judgment. When you catch yourself thinking something negative about yourself, gently pause. Then, consciously rephrase the thought into something more supportive. Treat yourself with the same kindness and encouragement you would offer to a good friend who was struggling. This is not about being unrealistic. It's about being compassionate with yourself. Finally, a wonderful way to build self-belief is to collect evidence of your competence. At the end of each day, take 2 minutes to write down one thing you did well. It doesn't matter how small it is. Maybe you cooked a delicious meal. Maybe you helped a coworker. Maybe you resisted the urge to check your phone and instead studied English for 10 minutes. Write it down in a notebook or a jar. Call it your evidence journal or your success jar. When you're having a bad day, when you feel like you can't do anything right, open that notebook or look at that jar. You will have concrete, undeniable proof of your abilities and your efforts. You will be reminding your brain of all the times you were successful. So, to summarize, self-belief and confidence are not magical gifts. They are skills. They are the result of conscious habits and ways of thinking. You can build them, little by little, every single day. Take small steps. Speak kindly to yourself. Collect proof of your progress. And keep moving forward, especially when it feels hard. When you truly start to believe in yourself, you unlock a power that no one can ever take away from you. That is what successful people do. That is what winners do. Every journey, no matter how well planned, will have its obstacles. Even the most successful people you can think of face enormous challenges. They experience fear. They deal with failure. They get rejected. The critical difference is not that winners manage to avoid these universal human experiences. The difference lies in how they respond to them. They have trained their minds to see challenges not as roadblocks, but as opportunities for growth. They don't let fear paralyze them. They don't let failure define them. And they don't let rejection crush their spirit. In this part of our conversation, we're going to talk about these three giants: fear, failure, and rejection, and explore the strategies that winners use to face them down. Let's begin with fear. Fear is a normal, natural, and even necessary human emotion. It's our brain's ancient alarm system, designed to keep us safe from danger. We feel fear when we try something new, when we have to speak in front of a crowd, when we invest our money, or when we face the possibility of failing. The instinct is to run away from the thing that scares us. But winners understand a profound secret about fear. Fear is not a stop sign. It's a compass. It's a signal that you are about to do something brave, that you are stepping outside of your comfort zone, which is the only place where real growth can happen. Think about a woman named Emily who has a dream of starting her own graphic design business. She is incredibly talented, But she is terrified. She's afraid of leaving her stable job. She's afraid she won't find any clients. She's afraid of what her family will think if she fails. The fear feels like a giant wall in front of her. A person controlled by fear would stay in their safe job, always wondering, what if? But Emily, thinking like a winner, acknowledges the fear. She tells herself, yes, I am scared. That's normal, but my dream is more important than my fear. She doesn't try to get rid of the fear all at once. Instead, she takes one small, fear-facing action. She designs a logo for a friend for free. Then she builds a simple website. Then she tells one person about her new business. Each action is scary, but each action also proves to her that she can survive the fear. Winners feel the fear, and they do it anyway. Action is the antidote to fear. The second giant challenge is failure. Our culture often treats failure like a terrible disease. We are so afraid of failing that many of us never even try to do the things we truly want to do. But successful people have completely reframed their relationship with failure. They know that failure is not the opposite of success. It is an integral part of the process of achieving success. It is a teacher. Think of the story of Thomas Edison and his invention of the practical electric light bulb. He and his team tested thousands and thousands of different materials for the filament. A reporter once asked him, "How did it feel to fail 10,000 times?" Edison's response is a masterclass in the winner's mindset. He said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Do you see the power in that perspective? Every failure was not an end point. It was a data point. It was a piece of information that got him one step closer to the solution. When winners fail, they don't see it as a reflection of their worth. They don't feel shame. They feel curiosity. They ask, "Okay, what happened here? What can I learn?" And then they try again. But this time, they are smarter, more informed, and better prepared than before. Finally, let's talk about the painful sting of rejection. Rejection is when someone says no to you. You don't get the job you interviewed for. The person you like doesn't want to go on a date with you. The publisher rejects the book you wrote. It hurts. It can feel deeply personal, like a judgment that you are not good enough. But winners learn not to let rejection destroy their self-worth. They understand that rejection is a part of life and happens to absolutely everyone, even the most talented and successful people in the world. Think about J.K. Rowling, the author of the Harry Potter series. Her original manuscript was rejected by 12 different publishing houses before one finally took a chance on it. 12 times experts in the field told her no. Imagine if she had given up after the first rejection, or the 5th, or the 10th. The world would have been deprived of one of the most beloved stories ever written. Her story is a testament to the power of persistence. Winners understand that a no is often not about them personally. It could be about timing, about fit, or about the other person's own circumstances. They don't let a no stop them. They might feel disappointed for a while, but then they pick themselves up, improve what they can, and knock on the next door. So, how can you start to handle these challenges like a winner in your own life? Let's break it down into some simple, practical tips. When you feel fear, break the scary task down into the smallest possible step, and then take that one tiny action. If you're afraid of speaking in English, your goal for today isn't to have a 30-minute conversation. Your goal is to say good morning to your neighbor, Action builds confidence and shrinks the fear. When you experience a failure or a mistake, change the questions you ask yourself. Instead of the disempowering question, "Why am I so bad at this?" Ask the powerful question, "What can I learn from this?" Get out a piece of paper and write down the lessons. This turns a painful experience into a valuable education. Remember, failure is an event, not a person. And when you face rejection, allow yourself to feel the disappointment, but put a time limit on it. Then, remind yourself that this no does not define you. It is one data point from one person at one moment in time. Everyone who has ever achieved anything significant has a long list of rejections behind them. Keep improving your skills, keep believing in your value, and keep trying. Your yes is out there waiting for you. Finally, celebrate your own courage. When you face a fear, when you try again after a failure, or when you keep moving forward after a rejection, take a moment to acknowledge your own strength. You don't have to succeed to be proud of yourself. Be proud of the fact that you tried. You are doing the hard work of building a strong, resilient mindset, one challenge at a time. And that, right there, is a massive win. By now, we've journeyed deep into the mindset of successful people. We've talked about how they think, the habits they build, and how they face challenges. This might lead you to ask a very practical question. This is all great, Alex, but how can I actually start to think like a winner in my own, normal, everyday life? This is the most important question of all, because this isn't about theory, it's about application. The good news is, you don't need to wait for some big, life-changing event to begin. You can start practicing this new way of thinking right now, today, with small, simple actions that, over time, will create a profound shift in your life. In this final section, I want to share some easy and powerful tips to help you build a winner's mindset in your daily routine. The first, and perhaps simplest, tip is this. Start each day with a plan. Many of us wake up, grab our phones, and immediately get pulled into the reactive world of emails, social media, and news. Our day starts by reacting to other people's priorities. Winners, on the other hand, start their day proactively. They take just a few minutes in the morning, perhaps with a cup of coffee, to set their own intentions for the day. This doesn't have to be a long, complicated to-do list. It can be as simple as identifying your top 2 or 3 most important tasks for the day. Maybe your goal is to spend 20 uninterrupted minutes studying English grammar. Maybe it's to finish one important report for work. Maybe it's just to go for a walk and get some fresh air. When you write down a simple plan, you give your brain a clear target. You create a sense of purpose for your day. You are no longer just drifting. You are navigating. This small act of planning puts you in the driver's seat of your own life. The second tip is to actively practice gratitude. Gratitude is one of the most powerful tools for cultivating a positive and resilient mindset. It trains your brain to look for what's good in your life, rather than constantly focusing on what's missing or what's wrong. Every day, make it a habit to notice and appreciate the small things. It could be the taste of your morning coffee, a warm smile from a stranger, the fact that you have a comfortable bed to sleep in, or the ability to listen to this podcast and learn something new. You can practice this by simply thinking of 3 things you're grateful for before you go to sleep. Or you could start a gratitude journal and write them down. This habit, which takes less than 2 minutes a day, can completely change your perspective. It shifts you from a mindset of scarcity to a mindset of abundance. And a grateful mind is a happy and powerful mind. The third daily habit is to be intentional about your self-talk. We've touched on this before, but it is so important, it needs to be a daily practice. The conversation you have with yourself is the most important conversation of your life. For many of us, this conversation is unconsciously negative. We criticize ourselves for mistakes. We doubt our abilities, and we focus on our flaws. Winners learn to speak to themselves with the same kindness and encouragement they would offer a dear friend. They become their own biggest cheerleader. So, today, I want you to pay attention to that voice in your head. When you catch it saying something harsh or critical, gently challenge it. If you make a mistake and your mind says, "You're so clumsy," consciously replace it with, "Oops, that was a mistake. It's okay. I can fix it." If you are nervous about a presentation and your mind says, "You're going to forget everything," replace it with, "I have prepared for this, and I will do my best. My best is good enough." This isn't about being perfect. It's about practicing self-compassion. Another key idea to practice daily is persistence. Don't give up on things too easily. In our world of instant gratification, it's easy to get discouraged when we don't see results immediately. But real, meaningful growth takes time and effort. It's completely normal to feel tired, frustrated, or bored when you're working towards a long-term goal. The key is what you do in those moments. Winners don't stop when things get hard. They might take a break. They might rest. They might ask for help. But they always come back and try again. For example, if you are learning a new skill, like coding, and you get stuck on a problem for hours, the temptation is to close the laptop and say, "I'm just not smart enough for this." A winner's mindset says, "This is really challenging, which means my brain is growing right now. I'll take a short break, look at it with fresh eyes, and maybe I'll understand it." That refusal to quit, that decision to try just one more time, is often the single thing that separates success from failure. These are not grand, complicated strategies. They are small, simple, daily practices. But when you commit to them, their effect is cumulative. They build on each other. You don't have to be perfect at them. You just have to be consistent. Wake up and set a small plan. Look for a few things to be thankful for. Speak to yourself with a little more kindness. And when you face a challenge, stick with it for just a little longer than you normally would. These are the daily habits of a winner, and they are habits that are available to you right now. I want to encourage you to pick just one of these tips to focus on today. Don't try to do them all at once. Just choose one. Maybe your one thing for today is to write down your 3 most important tasks. Or maybe it's to catch and rephrase one negative thought. Do it today. And then, try to do it again tomorrow. Each time you practice, you are casting a vote for the person you want to become. You are building your winner's mindset. Remember, thinking like a winner is not about being the best in the world. It's about becoming your best. One thought, one choice, and one day at a time. You already have this power inside you. Now, it's time to start using it. We are now approaching the end of our time together today, and I'd like to take a few moments to look back on the path we've traveled. We've explored a deep and powerful topic, the psychology of winners, and my hope is that you found it simple to understand. useful for your own life, and perhaps even a little bit inspiring. Let's briefly recap the key ideas we discussed. We started by redefining what it means to be a winner or a successful person. We learned that it's not about external measures like money or fame. True success is personal. It's about continuous growth, about learning, and about having the courage to not give up on your own journey. Your success is defined by you, and you alone. Then, we explored the core difference in how winners think. We discovered the concept of the growth mindset, the belief that our abilities can be developed through effort and practice. This is in contrast to a fixed mindset, which is the belief that our talents are set in stone. This single shift in perspective is what allows people to embrace challenges, learn from mistakes, and achieve great things. We also looked at 5 specific thinking habits of successful people. These are the small daily actions that build a strong mind. They include 1. Focusing on clear goals. 2. Learning from mistakes instead of fearing them. 3. Staying calm and thinking clearly during problems. 4. Having the wisdom to ask for help when needed. And 5. Maintaining a commitment to lifelong learning. Next, we talked about the critical importance of self-belief and confidence. We learned that confidence isn't something you're born with. It's a skill you build. You build it by taking small, consistent actions, by speaking to yourself with kindness and encouragement, and by celebrating your small wins along the way. Of course, the journey to success is filled with challenges, so we face the 3 giants: fear, failure, and rejection. We learned that winners don't avoid these things. Instead, they learn to act in spite of fear. They treat failure as a valuable teacher, and they refuse to let rejection define their worth. They build resilience. And finally, we brought it all together with simple, practical ways to start thinking like a winner in your daily life. It's about the small things: starting your day with a plan, practicing gratitude, managing your self-talk, and cultivating persistence when things get tough. Now, I want to leave you with one final question to carry with you today. What is one small thing you can do right now to start thinking like a winner? Maybe it's writing down one goal you have for the rest of the day. Maybe it's catching one negative thought and gently replacing it with a more positive one. Maybe it's deciding to try something that feels just a little bit scary. Or maybe it's just reminding yourself that mistakes are okay and are a part of the learning process. Whatever it is, I encourage you to take that one small step. Winners are not created overnight. They are built through thousands of small, conscious choices to adopt the right mindset day after day. And please, remember this: you do not have to be perfect. You just have to be persistent. Every step you take forward, no matter how small, is a victory. Every lesson you learn makes you stronger. You already have everything you need inside you to grow, to improve, and to achieve your own unique version of success. All it takes is belief, action, and a little bit of patience with yourself. Before we say goodbye, I have a special practice section for you. This is a chance for you to activate your English and think more deeply about these ideas. I'm going to ask you 5 questions. After I ask each question, I encourage you to pause the audio and try to answer it out loud. Speak in full sentences if you can. It doesn't matter if your answer is short or long. The goal is simply to practice. Are you ready? Let's begin. Question 1. Thinking about the new definition of success we discussed, who is a successful person you know personally? It could be a family member, a friend, or a coworker. What is it about them that makes them successful in your eyes? Question 2. What does your personal definition of success look like? If you could wave a magic wand, what would a successful life feel like for you? Try to describe it. Question 3. Think about the last time you made a mistake. How did you react in that moment? Based on what we learned today, how could you think about that mistake differently now? Question 4. What is one small daily habit you can commit to starting tomorrow to build your winner's mindset? Will you start a gratitude journal, plan your day, or practice positive self-talk? Describe the habit. And question 5. Think about a goal you have, maybe related to learning English. What is one small, manageable step you can take towards that goal today, even if it feels a little scary? Take your time with these questions. Don't worry about perfect grammar. The most important thing is to engage your mind and practice expressing your thoughts in English. This is how fluency is built. Thank you so much for joining me today on this episode of English in Fluency. I truly hope you not only learned some valuable ideas, but also got some great practice for your listening and thinking skills. This channel is here to help you grow, both in your English ability and in your life. If this journey into the winner's mindset was helpful for you, please consider sharing it with someone who might need to hear this message today. And to make sure you don't miss our next deep dive into topics that can help you improve your English and your life, be sure to subscribe and hit that bell notification button. It's the best way to stay connected and continue this journey together. Until next time, stay strong, stay focused, and keep thinking like a winner. You've got this. Take care, and I'll see you in the next episode.